There has been a lot of chatter lately with the New England Patriots potentially going after their once-known goal to go for the perfect season, 19-0. Now, me personally, I think they're going to go 13-3, but they are favorited in every single game this season on the regular season, at least for now. And right now, if they could stay healthy, it is possible. The chances of them probably doing it, I would give them a 20% chance of possibly do it, but most likely it's not going to go through. And reality, I think it's more likely that they're going to have somewhere around 13 wins, because I just look at it, and the fact that you just predict a game to go 16-0 is ridiculous. Now, am I saying there's no chance of them going 16-0? Absolutely not. It's just, I feel as if just predicting a team to go 16-0 just kind of seems just odd and just feels a little bit unrealistic and a very kind of bold prediction, I guess the whole way to phrase it here. Now, the reason why they can do it is because their roster is absolutely stacked. I would say it's almost the equivalent of the Golden State Warriors, almost, but I look at it and see that it's not as if Brandon Cooks is the equivalent of acquiring Kevin Durant. It's not, but ideally it helps their problem from last year, because if you remember from last Super Bowl, they obviously lacked a lot of athleticism there, and bringing in Brandon Cooks obviously solves that issue right there. And also they signed Stephon Gilmore, who's a good cornerback. They got a younger tight end than Martellus Bennett and Dwayne Allen. They got Coney Ealy, and they just acquired a lot of players right here. And they're still being linked to some free agents here on the board. But I look at it, and they're just the favorites to win it all this season. But to go 19-0 and possibly redeem themselves in a, basically, I would say, kind of make the 2007 season forgettable, might be something they might go for, because Bill Belichick has won 5 Super Bowls. He might be the greatest coach of all time. Tom Brady won 5 Super Bowls. I think most people would consider him the greatest quarterback of all time. So I guess the only thing to go for it, and since that they could still play, is probably just 16-0. You just might as well just go for the perfect season. So I guess this is kind of their goal, to kind of stay motivated. Now, I think when I look at the New England Patriots, there is some differences from the 07 team. The 07 team, I would say, had more superstardom at receiver, but this team has more depth at receiving. And I would say the 2007 Patriots offense is actually not as good as the 2017 offense that we're probably going to see. I think one thing for sure is this 2017 offense, you have 2 tight ends here, then you got a good receiver, Julian Edelman, a good receiver in Brandon Cooks, and ideally, you might not have Randy Moss, but even though you don't have Randy Moss there, I definitely feel that having Gronkowski and Brandon Cooks is more valuable, because there's more depth there, and they still have stardom at the receiving position, Rob Gronkowski. Now, the reason why the New England Patriots, they might not have the 6'5" target in Randy Moss, the reason why is because they acquired Randy Moss in 2007 because their tight end Benjamin Watson wasn't producing as what they were like to do. He's still a pretty good tight end. He still plays today. I believe he's on the Baltimore Ravens, and he's made it to a Pro Bowl, I believe, in 2015. And when you brought in Randy Moss, he kind of filled in that tight end gap, and he also helped the speed gap here. But since the Patriots have a tight end here that they're going to have, they could just have Brandon Cooks right there, speedster on there. So they don't necessarily need that Calvin Johnson, that Julio Jones, that Randy Moss-esque kind of talent at wide receiver. So when I look at it, I would say the 2017 offense is definitely better. But the one thing when I look at the 2007 defense, I would say that defense is better. I feel Asante Samuel was a better cornerback than Malcolm Butler. I would say Rodney Harrison was better than a Devin McCourty. I would say that Vince Wilfork was better than a Malcolm Brown. And I would probably take the Patriots linebacking core in 2007 than in 2017. Now, in 2017, the Patriots linebacking core is pretty good. I would say that if you have Dante Hightower, he's great. David Harris, he's good, but I feel as if I would rather have an Adalys Thomas, a Teddy Bruschi, a Junior Seau, and a Mike Rabel. I mean, that just sounds like freaking OP as hell. And when I look at that, I would definitely say 07 is a better defensive team. But also, this is some differences, some of the perks that the 2017 team has versus the 2007 team doesn't have. I think when you look at it, you have a reliable kicker in Stephen Gostkowski, or at least you see him as more reliable. I know in the Super Bowl he definitely missed that extra point, and that definitely was terrible. But I've also seen Stephen Gostkowski to be very clutch at moments. He has made some really clutch kicks at some points, and I have to give him credit. I think he can be reliable to make a clutch kick in the game. Maybe in the playoffs, that's definitely questionable. I definitely consider that as a question. So maybe he isn't. I would definitely say, though, he was better than what he was 10 years ago. But right now, he's definitely a better kicker. And I also look at Mike Gillislee as an upgrade. I think Mike Gillislee can easily be a 1,000-yard rusher for the Patriots. I really think he can, because the Patriots have a good run-blocking offensive line. And also, he only had 100 carries in a 2016 compared to what he could have in 2017. He could up to have 250 carries. And I think when you can have that, I think you're talking about a guy who can get 5 yards per carry. You're talking about a 1,000-yard rusher or a 1,200-yard rusher, and he's going to get a lot of touchdowns. They had Lawrence Maroney in 2007, and he was a guy that really couldn't find a hole. He had a really good playoffs run, and that's when the Patriots obviously got gassed, and I'll get to the gas part later, because in 2007, they really, really got gassed. And when I look at that in 2010, that was definitely an issue. I think partially was because you're just throwing the ball and hucking all the time. When you have a reliable backup in Jimmy Garoppolo, someone who you could see he could potentially be a starting quarterback in the NFL, and potentially a good one too, you definitely think to yourself that maybe at the end of games that they should start Garoppolo later on. Because I think one thing for sure about it is I feel like the 4-game suspension helped the Patriots out a lot, because it just basically gave Tom Brady a 1-month vacation. And so if you could put Garoppolo, like if they're just killing an opponent late in the game, in the fourth quarter, you could put in Jimmy Garoppolo. Or if it's the final 2 games of the season, you could put in Jimmy Garoppolo and feel the confidence that they're going to win the football game. And I think when I look at that, I think that's definitely a perk there. But also, one thing that the 2017 team doesn't have to the 2017 is a young Tom Brady. Tom Brady's old, so you don't know if Tom Brady's necessarily going to be great next season. I mean, we're assuming that he is, just because Father Time has not phased him one bit. But one thing for sure, though, if in the season, if he just doesn't look that he's on fire as dynamite, and you have Jimmy Garoppolo there, even though I think Jimmy Garoppolo would be a good quarterback, I don't think that would be the best quarterback to carry them to their success. I don't think that will eliminate from them getting the Super Bowl, and I think that a team similar to Oakland, or if you want to call them the Las Vegas Raiders, sure, fine, sure, they could get there. Maybe the Houston Texans, or maybe potentially the Steelers. There are some teams that could go over there. And so that's when I look at it and think to it that that's one thing that definitely hurts. Also, when I look at it, it's just maybe there's a potential that Brady lost some motivation there, because if you're in, like, if you won 5 Super Bowls, is really that much there to win? I think he could, but I think that's one thing for sure, is he just might not just be as motivated to win. Now, I did make a video, I believe a month or 2 ago, about how you defeat the New England Patriots. It's in the, clicking the link in the description. Also, if you want to know more about the Patriots offense, it's the Erhardt-Perkins offense. A lot of people would say it's a short pass offense, which is basically it. The Patriots just want a retro power run offense. I talk about that in the video, so click on the link in the description. My last video was about if the Chiefs were a potential playoff team, or not playoff team, but if they're a win-now team, if they can really make it to the Super Bowl. We really wonder if they can. I just kind of put it right there. It's in the description. Click on it right there. All right, guys. Have a nice day.
Play fake for Charles.